craft and collecting work by craftspeople has been very integral to my growth, and I was an active member of the Crafts Council of Western India until the Crafts Council moved to Chennai, and was a regular participant helping the late Mrs. Dinakshi Bhavnani. She was a real doyen, following in the footsteps of Kamla Devi Chattopadhyay. In textiles, listening avidly to what Mrs. Pupul Jaikar had to say. And again, 1980s, all the festivals were taking place, whether it was in the UK, USA, Japan, Paris, France. And the Crafts Council was very active in Bombay, and we had a good team of volunteers and workers, and being very young at that time, they naturally asked me to join them, and I was very, very happy to do that. And over a period of time, it was an affordable art to collect in those days. Contemporary art relatively was on the high side, so one interacted with artists from the Mithila painters, Sikhi Grass, Bindeshwari Devi, the Madhubani painters, the Varli, of course, in Maharashtra. There was a revival of the Chamba Rumal embroidery by the Crafts Council of Delhi. They were making copies of the original Chamba Rumals, teaching the people from the Chamba region how to make this stitch. You can see it from both sides. It's so beautifully done. The work that came out of Gujarat and Ajrak printing. So there were very many crafts, dhokra work, bell metal from the south, and one collected over the years and became very close to these potters, potters included, to these artists. And the Government of India has this wonderful award for master craftsmen and master craftswomen, and that's how I got to know them, because I would invite them to Cymroza exclusively. Another great organization which supported the crafts was Air India. They would invite them, they would buy their work and display it in their offices all over the world, and honor them by sometimes sending them at the opening of the office if it was something really spectacular. So all these crafts we have exhibited. I love textiles personally, all types of textiles. Everything is, of course, has to be hand done, and that's how the interest in craft developed, and it continues still today. And I think we need to support the crafts, because if we don't, who will? And there are Rastakar and many other organizations that have come up, and unfortunately we don't have a big craft mela in Bombay like they have in New Delhi and in Bangalore and in Chennai, and we don't have a crafts council in Western India anymore either, which is rather sad. But I've always liked it, and I've always supported it, and I have lots of stories about craftspeople who've stayed with me in my parents' home, in my home. I have lots of stories about craftspeople who were sponsored and taken abroad to New South Wales, where they painted entire walls, because that's all they know how to paint, the beautiful walls of their homes. And it's a big tourist income generator as well. So anything that supports the financial stability of a village, either through an individual or collectively, I'm all for that, and I've had a deep interest in this subject. Yes. So craft doesn't end with an object, it also includes textiles. And when I say textiles, I go to the broader, the outer limit, because in the village, to keep themselves warm, they have quilts. In every region of India, they do quilt making. They have different stitches that they use. So the Khobar and the Sorai tribals, I have collected a few of their quilt pieces, and a lot of people I know have collected quilting pieces, and we use those. And fortunately, there are one or two commercial shops in Bombay, old ones and new ones that have come up, who are emphasizing kalamkari, block printing, sanganer printing. There are so many schools of printing around India, and I'm very glad that in this COVID time I've seen so many maps coming out which we're all sharing, that every little region of India has a stamp of their own identity when it comes to weaving and printing on textiles. Cymroza as 50 has actually been conceived with having 3 venues. One, of course, is Cymroza itself, which will have the more historic and the archival material, and then there is a very nice exhibition of Nellie Setna's weaves and her position in the larger canvas of weaving in India. That will be at Chatterjee and Lal, and a rather large show of about 100 works at Pandol, which will be contemporary and also carry some of the traditional painting as well.